Guys, what's up? And today I have a Dawn newspaper. You see, I'm going to analyze the Dawn's editorial dated 17 August 2022. We will discuss about the grammar points as well and the punctuation like comma, semicolons, full stops, dashes, brackets, and so on. And we will also talk about the dependent clauses and the independent clauses. This is very important. And the most important thing is that I will be reading in English and translating into easy English. You see, so otherwise if I translate the same into another language, the purpose of Dawn newspaper will not be served, or that purpose is defeated. Let's just start. No end to hostility. That means no end to enmity. There is, hostility amongst the political parties in Pakistan these days. So this editorial is giving us the summary of that. Let's go. It is no surprise that the PTI PML-Q government in Punjab is on a collision course with the Shehbaz Sharif administration in Islamabad. The easy translation would be, it is a known fact. It doesn't surprise anybody that the PTI PML-Q government is a collision government with the PMLN, with the Shehbaz Sharif administration in Islamabad. The "the" has been used before the proper noun. "The" is used for the phrase. You see, this is a phrase now. The Shehbaz Sharif administration. So before the noun phrase, you can use "the," or you can pronounce it "the." On Saturday, police raided the homes of two PMLN leaders from Lahore, Ataullah Tarar and Rana Mashood Khan, who have fled to Islamabad, over the violence in the provincial assembly during April's vote for chief minister. Now here let me first of all complete the translation. Police raided. They went to the houses of two PMLN leaders, Ataullah Tarar and Rana Mashood Khan, who were not present, who had gone away. So the police went to their houses to arrest them, and the actual issue was the violence caused by them. Everybody remembers that in April's vote for chief minister, you see where Mr. Ataullah Tarar raised his unacceptable finger. You see that is viral in the videos. So over the violence in the provincial assembly, where Mr. Eli got hurt as well. Now the most important point here is the dash. Dash has been used. Why do we use the dash? We use dash to add some information, but the information which is not more important than the commas. If there was a comma, for example, Mashood Khan comma, who have fled to Islamabad, and comma over, that means this is important one. This is important. The writer thinks that this is important one. But when the writer is using the dashes, that means this is not that much important. Okay, let's go over. Let's go ahead and let me clarify also like this one, so it will be clear. You see, the Interior Minister Rana Sanaullah too has been threatened with arrest if he enters Punjab for ordering a crackdown on PTI supporters trying to reach Islamabad for the May 25 long march. Yes. Now here, Interior Minister Rana Sanaullah also two here there is between two commas. If the sentence was to end here after the two, there would have been a full stop, but it does not end here. That means this is an extra one. The extra adverb has been used. This two is used as an adverb. Sanaullah, the comma, two comma, has been threatened with arrest if he enters Punjab. So he has also been threatened that he will be arrested if he comes to Punjab. Why would he be arrested? For ordering a crackdown on PTI supporters who are trying to reach Islamabad for the May 25 Long March. Again, we have a phrase. You see, the may is the proper noun here. You see, may does not accept the but the has been used, just like there was an example earlier. The Punjab government, let's go. Let's clarify this one here also. The Punjab government has made its intentions quite clear. It will do anything and everything in its power to undermine the PMLN in the province before the next elections. Punjab government has shown its intentions that it will do everything within its power to weaken the PMLN in the province before the general elections are held. Now, one more point, grammar point to learn in this sentence or in this paragraph is the colons are used here. After clear, quite clear, colon we use when you are giving an explanation of anything, when you're giving an example. If you put an example or procedure, a process or explanation, write an explanation, then put the colons and then explain the thing. Or you're giving an example, write the example, then give the example how it goes. So this the writer is trying to give the explanation of the intentions of the Punjab government. But at the end, I will analyze the same critically. I will also I criticize some portions, some words, some sentences which have been used. Let's go. Meanwhile, this is the shortest, you see, paragraph in the editorial. Meanwhile, Hamza Shehbaz has left for London for an indefinite period. So during this time, Mr. Hamza Shehbaz is gone to London for undecided period of time. I mean, that period is not decided when he will come back. Now, meanwhile, but he left after he lost we had the decree from the court, and he knew that he would be arrested. Okay, I'm criticizing here, but meanwhile Hamza Shehbaz has left for London for an indefinite period. Somebody who runs away, we do not use the word leave or left for London. He's left for London. He's left for London for work or for an important decision meeting or what. However, meanwhile, these are the introductory words. However, meanwhile, or actually, nevertheless, or as a matter of fact, are always separated by comma. It is also clear that PTI has understood that it cannot compel the PMLN-led coalition to announce early elections that former Prime Minister Imran Khan had been demanding ever since his ouster. So, nevertheless, but it is also clear, it is apparent, we know that PTI can understand that it is not within its power, or it's not able to compel or force PMLN-led coalition to announce to go for the early general elections, which was the demand of Imran Khan, former Prime Minister, before his ouster. Okay, this is what the sentence says right here. Now we go further. Otherwise, the PTI would have asked Mr. Elahi to dissolve the provincial assembly to force the coalition's hand. Now let me also, okay. Otherwise, the PTI would have asked Mr. Elahi to dissolve the provincial assembly to force the coalition's hand. So, in other case, PTI would have opted, would have requested, would have asked, would have directed Mr. Elahi to dissolve the provincial assembly in order to compel coalition government. Hence, there was no mention of this demand. And now let's go further. Hence, there was no mention of this demand in Mr. Khan's last public address in Lahore on the eve of Independence Day. Let me highlight the same and explain it. You see, if, for example, everybody knows that, but the politicians who are concerned, they are well aware of this situation. Dissolving one assembly, one provincial assembly would warrant the by-elections. So the government is trying to play this tactics, this shenanigan, to force Imran Khan to ask Mr. Eli to dissolve the provincial assembly. Thereafter, they might say that we are not in a position now, in an economic position where economically we are weak, so we cannot go for the general election. So we would conduct the by-elections for this assembly or whatever. So then these efforts would end in smoke. Let's go ahead. Yet it doesn't mean that PTI-PMLQ alliance will not use its control in the country's political heartland to contain its rivals' clout in Punjab, advance its agenda ahead of the elections, and undermine the federal government to force its collapse. Okay, let's now highlight the same right here. Now let's read again. Yet it doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean means we cannot rule out the possibility that PTI-PMLQ alliance will not use its control in the country's political heartland, will not use its power they have in Punjab. You see, political heartland. The Punjab is the heartland. And why? To stop, to contain, to stop, to constrain its rival like PMLN's power in Punjab. Advance and advance its agenda ahead of the elections, and undermine the federal government, and weaken the federal government to force its collapse, force its failure. It breaks down, or then the collapse is the best word, and also you could say the breakdown. Now let's read ahead. No wonder several PTI and PMLQ leaders have warned that their government will not hesitate to arrest PMLN Supremo Nawaz Sharif if he decides to return home to lead his party into elections. Now, Supremo is the word I need to clarify the same. Supremo is a word, you see, which means a person with the great power, with authority of an organization or party. So that's the British word. It's informal also. Supremo Nawaz Sharif, the supreme leader Nawaz Sharif, if he decides to return. Now, the sentence is no wonder, there is no doubt, it's not surprising. Several PTI and PMLQ leaders have warned. So the writer is not mentioning the names, the concerned persons who have announced this, that the government will not hesitate to arrest PMLN Supremo. The writer is hiding the facts here. Okay, if he decides to return home to lead his party into elections, if he wants to lead the elections, okay, general elections. Now let's go. Okay. Now, sadly, what is happening today is not something new in Pakistan's turbulent political history. So we have been here before. So the writer is trying to give an example from the past that sadly what is happening is not new. It is very sad to say, but it is not new. Nothing is new under the sun. This has happened before. We have seen this. We have been here before. We have seen this before. Turbulent is a word. Pakistan's a turbulent political party. Political history means disturbed, unsettled, windy, stormy. Political history. You see, that's unsettled political history. So we have seen this before. The writer is. Sorry. This one is not accepting. Okay. Now let's read ahead. PMLN leader Nawaz Sharif owes his rise to his confrontationist politics. I think I should. Now, PMLN leader Nawaz Sharif owes his rise to his confrontationist politics. Let me clarify the words. Confrontationist means aggressive. You see, aggressive, a person who confronts opposition aggressively. So he has risen to the heights or pinnacles, or he is popular because of his aggressive politics against the opposition. He always takes the for example, he always opposes the opposition aggressively. Sharif owes his rise to, means he has risen because of, he is on this position thanks to his for example, I owe my rise to my hard work. So he owes his rise to his inherited money. Or confrontationist politics means he never agrees to the demands of the opposition leaders, but he is sitting with the PDM, all the parties. He's sitting with Zardari. He is with Zardari. He is with Maulana Fazlur Rahman. So this is what the writer is showing him, that he is sane of any faults. He also had refused to accept the authority of then Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto in the late 1990s. So here is the example the writer wants to give, that he had refused to accept the authority. He had refused, or he did not accept the authority of then Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, who was the Prime Minister by then in late 1990s. The two situations are not identical, though, even if the government in Punjab and at the center don't recognize each other as legitimate. Now, legitimate is the word that means legal, lawful, and the writer here admits that the two situations are not identical, though, because the government in Islamabad is not elected one. They are not elected one. So there is no comparison. I don't know why the writer is giving this comparison. Now these are the last days, so everybody will take, will maintain some distances. Unfortunately, the provincial government's hostility towards its opponents and its use of high-handed tactics against them will deepen political polarization. Now, let me color code the same. Unfortunately is an introductory word, should be separated by comma. The provincial government's hostility, the provincial government's enmity, the provincial government's enmity towards its opponents, and its use of high-handed tactics, and its use of aggressive tactics, high-handed, brutal tactics, means misuse of power, illegal force. You see, use of power. So high-handed tactics against them will deepen the political, that will broaden the political polarization, political division. So into two groups. There are many groups now, but polarization is the political division. We may see tensions between the two sides intensify beyond the war of words in the coming weeks and months. Now the writer says what he says. Let me color code the same. Then we just come on. Okay, I have highlighted see and intensify. Mostly in British English, you say I saw them talking, I saw him coming, I saw him going. But the formal English would be also, we may see them talk, we may see them fight, we may see tensions between the two sides intensify, not intensifying. If there was intensifying, it would have been correct one as well. We may see tensions between the two sides intensify beyond the war of words. So the tensions would have gone beyond out of the control of the words, the limit of the words in the coming weeks and months. The writer believes that. Let's go. Rana Sanaullah has already warned of imposing governor's rule in Punjab in case he is stopped from entering the province. Rana Sanaullah has already warned, he has already threatened, he has already messaged the people, messaged the government Punjab, that he will impose a governor's rule in Punjab in case if they stop him from entering the province. Now what is that? And Rana Sanaullah has warned of imposing. He cannot. He cannot impose. But why is this sentence there? He has done that, but now let's go ahead. I'll explain it to you. Now, this might have been just a political rhetoric. What's a rhetoric? Rhetoric is the oratory, or is the art of speech. You see in the speech, for example, Donald Trump had a rhetoric like "Make America Great Again," though he kept on saying that was a rhetoric. Or the orators have the rhetorics; they use them to convince the people, to draw their attention. So this might have been just a political rhetoric. This might have been a political expression. It does indicate. I have color coded it with the red color. You see, still it does indicate, the writer writes, that the country may be headed towards an ugly place if such threats come to pass. So if such threats are coming again and again, so we may see this also, the governor rule in Punjab. That means this is the high-handedness of the imported government. Excuse me. Okay, let's go on. Let me. That means the writer believes that the governor rule can be used, can be imposed. That's a dictatorship now. Then the question is, then we have also the colons. That means the explanation is coming. But here's the question: can people and the country's fragile economy afford another political crisis due to the Punjab center confrontation? So the question is, can people and countries' fragile economy, means very weak, delicate, easily broken, can be easily broken, fragile, weak, delicate economy, afford this? Can we afford this political crisis due to the Punjab center confrontation? Because there is a confrontation going on between Punjab and Islamabad. It is time. Let me highlight the same. It is time for all parties to rise above such petty tactics and hostilities for political gains and pull the country back from the brink. I think this sentence is biased. But first of all, let's go for the translation. It is high time for all the parties that they rose above such petty tactics. It is high time for them. It is the right time for them, for all the parties, to discard their petty tactics, their tactics, political tactics, and enmities or whatever, for political gains, for political benefits, and pull the country back from the brink of extinction, brink of starvation, brink of bankruptcy or whatever. But which parties he's talking about? He's suggesting whom? The most popular party, PTI. He's suggesting PTI. PTI is in the ground to use the petty tactics and hostilities for political gains, and he's suggesting the 13 PDM parties, or he's suggesting 13 PDM and PTI. I don't know what was the intention behind, but I think this is a biased sentence. I believe that. And secondly, this one, for example, meanwhile Hamza Shehbaz has left for London for an independent period. Why is his name mentioned here? There was no need to mention his name. He has run away, and there is no other mention. But meanwhile Hamza Shehbaz has left for London for an indefinite period. Means he is supreme leader. Nobody can ask him. Nobody can hold him responsible for anything he has done. Okay, I hope a message is conveyed, and see you soon. Please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for further and timely videos. Thank you.